Hey, Forrest, here's our lesson for, Tuesday, August the 12th. Um, Went to the range first and you hit some balls and you said you're hitting them really good. So take a look at the setup here, and setup looks great here. Make those lines a little more narrow there, but forward leaning shaft here, hands ahead of the golf ball at address, pretty well, kind of everything's on top of one another, on top of itself, and uh, stance width is really good here, and so we'll kind of click this through to the top. Keeping the head still, keeping the head stationary, swing center stationary was something that you'd been focusing on and doing a pretty good job here. It goes a little bit to the uh, right side there, away from the target. We just turn our shoulders probably just a little more than maybe we want to, but a really good job of keeping the lower body steady. Um, Hands are high enough over here up by the bill of the cap here. And then pretty good transition here as we start down, turning the left hip, and we were talking about getting posted up on that left leg and getting this left hip going towards the target and upward a little bit, and then getting that left glute back around behind the left heel. Hit this ball really good golf swing here, and a better job of getting a little more straight up and down this left leg. We might have a little bit of this look here where we're leaning over that left leg a little bit, but it's a lot better. The knee is bent less. The right knee is caught up to the left leg, and that's a pretty good job there. So we said one thing that we know that's given us some problems. We still are hitting the driver that's a little thin and going out a little bit to the right. If we marry the face with the path, we get just that push, and then our typical miss had been kind of hitting that little cut. Said on the range, you're overdrawing it a little bit, but our typical miss has been a little bit of a thin cut. And so we still have although the club comes from the inside, the hand path is still a little bit, out towards the ball target line and tracking a little bit more down the line than really from deep inside in the backswing and then out towards the second baseman, out towards right field in the through swing. So on the right-hand side is a swing where we tried to restrict the body turn even more, but get the left arm kind of slinging a little bit more across the body, and a little less where the hands and triangle form between the arms and club stay in front of our chest, and kind of get that left arm slinging a little bit more across the chest rather than just kind of pointing straight back towards the garage door, right? So in this case, we still make a good shoulder turn. There's plenty of turn there. Like you pointed out, the lower body's real stable where that left knee kind of stayed in place and didn't release back towards the ball. But we're exaggerating this move here in order to feel more of the left arm kind of stretching and reaching back here more towards the wall instead of reaching kind of straight back away from our chest here. And the reason that we want to do that is to kind of give ourselves a chance to have the arms and club lag even more behind in the swing, because what's happening is, even though we're doing a better job of leading with the lower body, once the upper body starts to turn, the hands and club aren't in a position to where they're trailing behind the upper body. So we kind of lose the benefit of that kind of slinging action. And you said, of course, you felt that, where when you got that good stretch and the arm kind of more slung across the chest rather than straight out away from the chest, you felt more of that pulling and the club kind of automatically slinging around from the inside. That's just going to improve our path throughout the bag, and believe it or not, it's even probably going to give you a little more effortless power. So that's the idea there in the swing to the top in that video. And then on the left-hand side was our first swing in. And you can see where, these hands, they work inside, but they go a little more straight back. At this point in the backswing, you can see where the club is parallel to the ground here. Hands are working a little bit more back towards the wall. Even the club's a little bit more back towards the wall. You can kind of see the glove of the left hand's kind of turning away from us. Now this arm swing is going to be a little bit lower, so we'll still want to get the arms going up a little bit, but this arm swing is going to be a little bit better to the top, where you can really see as we get to the top here, before we start our move down, that's the top of the backswing there. And you can just see where there's a little more tightness. You can kind of see a longer sleeve here in the left arm, whereas this sleeve is a little shorter, which in two-dimensional space means that it's going away from us a little bit. It's noticeable, but it's not a whole lot, right? But that left shoulder is kind of up under your chin just a little bit more. And you can see the angle of the right arm going, back a little bit more. Again, it's subtle, but it's going to make a difference for us. And so then when we start the swing down, you're not going to see a whole lot of difference here. We'll get this swing on the right starting to move down. Once those hands start to drop down here, and they're going to kind of go together, but even at this point you can see where the left arm, or the arms and club handle, are kind of more slung across the chest and pointing more back towards the wall longer. We'll get these arms to catch up right about here. And we'll see at this point in the swing, it's subtle again, but the lower body is leading a little bit more. The upper body is starting to come around, but the hands and the club are kind of lagging more behind. We get to this point in the swing, you got a little more level shoulders, which was kind of a look we were going for that will help us hit more down on the ball and not have a tendency to get up on the ball and kind of catching it thin with maybe one groove low. And then here's just prior to contact, not a whole lot of difference in this look. Forward-leaning shaft, you're going to hit the ball better in the swing on the left because that was a little bit more comfortable, but only because the face kind of randomly released on us in the right side. But you got at this point of the swing, the left arm is starting to turn down a little bit more. The back of the glove is pointing a little bit more towards the net instead of towards the camera. And then right here, we're fairly identical in the body supporting. We kind of get through here, extending through into our follow-through, and we look fairly identical here. So the point there being that even though we're trying to make this modification that feels really weird, you can see in these two swings, even though the ball contact in the after swing was less than we were looking for, you're not doing anything dramatically differently, but there's going to be that subtle change in where the lower body's leading, the upper body's following, but then the arms and club are even following more behind that, and that's just going to give you a better track from the inside without having to work so hard at it, and get the club on the ball, and especially with the driver, that's going to help you. So here we are in the down the line view, and I'll go ahead and say that the camera angle here may be slightly different from one of these to the other because we were kind of shooting that with the handheld camera. But from any angle, you can see the difference here where the hands are a little deeper. Deeper meaning, a little bit more over here towards the wall in the backswing than not. And so we draw a line down from the butt of the club, and we see that the butt of the club here is down behind our right heel, whereas the butt of the club in the other swing is right on top of the right ankle there. And so again, this is just the left arm slung more across the chest, and then as we start the club down, we'll use a red line, draw down to the ball here, and then another red line to draw down to the ball. Now, obviously the hands are a little bit lower in the swing on the right, the after swing, but let's just kind of track the hands down here. Both hands are going to kind of track down their respective lines here. And as we hit the ball, just give ourselves a little bit more of a chance to hit from the inside in this swing on the right. Again, just like the face-on view, it's not a dramatic difference, but we get a little bit better opportunity to hit the ball from the inside. We didn't hit the ball as well, but we will, and especially with the driver, we'll hit a little bit better. So again, we're not making dramatic changes here, but just a little bit that's going to give us that better track from the inside path. So we'll take a look at our swing with Zach Johnson. He's one that we can kind of use as a bit of a model here. You know, he's a guy who plays a pretty good bullet draw that we're looking to play, and was a good model for us to kind of use, especially when we started, where we were hitting those kind of sweeping hooks and wanted to learn how to tame that, but still be able to hit the powerful draw shot. So we'll take a look at Zach, and the thing that we see, you know, we talk about our tendency to kind of overturn. We've done a really good job of turning both the hips and the shoulders. And so we'll see Zach go to the top here, and what I want you to particularly notice is, you know, the hips are going to turn, but he's keeping the lower body fairly stable. And the shoulders kind of turn to about here. And then the arms will just kind of finish the swing to the top in the backswing. Still nice straight lever with the left arm. And we get to the top of the backswing about right here. You know, we see that his left arm slung across his chest somewhat mirrors his shoulder plane here, right? It's not exactly level, even with his shoulder tilt angle, if you will, but it's close to that. And then when we go to the top of the swing over here, you know, we'll do something similar. Really good job with the club shaft going up the plane line there like Zach. And then we'll get to right about here. And so what happens is, if we could maybe stop our shoulder turn right in here, right, where the shoulders are turned quite a bit, and then just go ahead and let those arms rise up here, slung across the chest, maybe, you know, maybe level with our the same, matching our shoulder tilt, or maybe slightly below that. That's okay. His are, you know, he's playing a little more around himself rather than up and down, which is fine. Still hits down plenty on it. So if we can, you know, kind of get the arms then rather than the shoulder turn. So if we say that that's plenty of lower body turn, that and body turn period, you know, shoulders and lower body, and we look at Zach there, you know, he's in a similar position with the body, and then if we let the arms just kind of go ahead and swing up and sling across our chest, so we get that little bit of extra turn. And now, you know, we noticed from the face-on view, now the back is starting to turn to the ball a little bit. It moves our head off the ball, and we're kind of straining to look over that left shoulder. So that's what we mean by wanting to kind of tighten up, if you will, or restrict the body turn. We're not keeping it from turning altogether, but that would be about as much as we needed. And then just go ahead and let the arms freely swing up and kind of get into the top position like Zach has. But we'll go ahead and go to the top of our swing where the hands start to work back down towards the golf ball. And we get here, and, you know, our left arm is slung across our chest better than it was in the other video, and then almost getting there to match the shoulder tilt, the shoulder angle there. So that's good. But just a little over rotated, and that's kind of what causes us to go a little bit out towards the ball with the hands, kind of reestablishing our top of the backswing position. And so we'll start down to the ball here. I'm going to use the red line to kind of show where our swing comes, and then Zach uses the red line too, just there outside the ball. And we'll swing both videos down. Kind of get both going. Zach's going to carry it right down under that line. And you know, ours tends to go a little more out towards the ball because we got the hands kind of started a little bit up and over, right? So just a little bit up and over. That's not the total end of the world. That'll get us going a little towards the ball target line. And that gets the club just the slightest bit steep, but we lay it down right here on that top plane. And then as we kind of swing down through the shot, we'll see the club approach from the inside, just like Zach's. And you know, he does this for a living, so he's going to have the lower body rotation moving and leading a little bit more than ours, but our shoulders are closed here as we get to the ball. Left hip's coming around like Zach's left hip is coming around. You know, we talked about, you know, having everything kind of trail, the hands and arms and club trailing, and ours are kind of catching up here. But that's just a function of working on it. And Zach gets that little push draw working here. You can see how long into his through swing he's kind of swinging his hands and arms and club away from the right hip. So there his club is, and arms going that way, and ours are already kind of working a little bit more around to the left. So again, that's going to be one of the benefits of getting used to this idea of having the arms and clubs slung a little bit more across the chest. And then that way when everything unwinds, the hands and arms and club can trail a little longer and work out towards the yellow impact bag over there, as opposed to wanting to kind of come around down the line here.